Women are by their very nature peacemakers. This applies within the family, but also in the state. We know deep down there would be far fewer wars on this earth if women had the power of decision-making and could apply their way of resolving conflicts. What do women do differently, better than men? The male principle tends to emphasize existing differences and even to aggravate them. The feminine principle, on the other hand, strives to bridge divisions and helps the connecting forces to prevail everywhere. Women are increasingly taking on leading roles in politics, business, and society when it comes to correcting undesirable developments and alleviating the suffering and destruction caused by behavior driven by male thinking and violence. Feindlich ist des Mannes Streben, mit zermalmender Gewalt geht der Wilde durch das Leben, ohne Rast und Aufenthalt. Was er schuf, zerstört er wieder, nimmer ruht der Wünsche Streit, nimmer, wie das Haupt der Hüder, ewig fällt und sich erneut. Women are outraged and protest loudly, like Mary Maudlin, against heartlessness, injustice, suffering and crime, produced by cold, loveless male thinking. In der Männerherrschgebiete gilt der Stärke trotzig Recht, mit dem Schwert beweist der's Güte, und der Perser wird zum Knecht. Es befehden sich im Grimme die Begierden wild und roh, und der Eres raue Stimme waltet, wo die Kares floh. The masculine principle strives for conquest, regardless of the heart of man. The masculine principle makes bridges for its achievements by trampling upon hearts and heads. The issue is not brain power, for potentially the feminine principle contains the same fires, but the feminine principle is in need of freedom for heart expression. Aber mit sanft überredender Bitte führen die Frauen den Zepter der Sitte, löschen die Zwietracht, die tobend entglüht, lehren die Kräfte, die feindlich sich hassen, sich in der lieblichen Form zu umfassen und vereinen, was ewig sich flieht. It is precisely the man who needs and longs for guidance from an empathetic, understanding and wise woman. In his despair, he instinctively seeks a way out, salvation and help from the female sex. When it becomes customary to allow the feminine principle to live and develop its potential toward regeneration through its feeling of continuous giving, then will the feminine principle outdistance the masculine in all directions. The woman can and must spiritually uplift and inspire the man. History shows how many artists, writers, philosophers, and statesmen have relied on a woman as their teacher, guide, or muse. As the teacher creates through the disciples, so does woman create through the masculine principle. Therefore, woman flamingly uplifts man. It is your task as a woman to guide the man on the spiritual path. The great epoch of woman is coming. Verily, woman has a twofold heroic task: to uplift herself and to uplift her eternal companion, man. All the forces of light are awaiting this heroic deed. Woman must raise herself to such a degree, spiritually, morally, and intellectually, that it will enable her to carry man with her. Remember the painting by Nicholas Roerich, She Who Leads. Thus woman must occupy the place destined for her. She must become not only an equal cooperator in the construction of the whole life, but also an inspirer to heroic deeds in life. The greatest task is to spiritualize and to restore the health of humanity by filling it with aspiration toward heroic deeds and beauty. Man is ruled by his passions. It is the woman's task to free him from these shackles. Ewig aus der Wahrheit Schranken schweift des Mannes wilde Kraft. Unstet treiben die Gedanken auf dem Meer der Leidenschaft. Gierig greift er in die Ferne, nimmer wird sein Herz gestillt. Rastlos durch entlegene Sterne jagt er seines Traumes Bild. Aber mit zauberisch fesselndem Blicke winken die Frauen den Flüchtling zurücke, warnend zurück in der Gegenwart Spur. In der Mutter bescheidener Hütte sind sie geblieben mit schamhafter Sitte, treue Töchter der frommen Natur. Better men actually wish to be redeemed from the bondage of their lower self. They sense that the greater purity of woman can help them with this. Die düstre Glut, die hier ich fühle brennen, sollt ich unseliger sie Liebe nennen? Ach nein, die Sehnsucht ist es nach dem Heil, wird es durch solchen Engel mir zuteil. Men tend to idealize women. For them, their beloved is an angel, the Virgin Mary, or at least a saint. Before I introduced my future wife to my family, they mockingly called her Saint Clara. So much had I idolized her in my narratives. Women can use this to help their partners to control their animal instincts and awaken their better nature. As woman has been the temptation to which the lower nature of man has yielded, it is only as woman refuses to become accessory to his fall and shows forth to his mind's eye the beauties and graces of the higher aspect of womanhood, that man can be compelled to recognize and desire those higher aspects. Man will eventually either bless or curse womanhood, and it will be according to the extent and use of her power to dominate and control his lower nature, whether it will be blessing or cursing. By overcoming the animalistic self, which is so much stronger in men than in women, not only individuals, but human society as a whole will reach a higher level. To contribute to this process and to take a leading role in it is the high destiny of women. Every woman who helps to save a man from his lower self by refusing to yield to the temptation her lower nature places in her way, thus proving the existence of a higher phase of life than he has previously known, does more to save the race to which both belong than any man, however great he may be, can possibly do in the present age. To achieve this, you, as a woman, must first of all keep yourself pure. My sister, your power lies in your purity. It is womankind that will finally be held to strict account for the laxity and morals of the present race, far more than man. His time will come in another age, as it came in a preceding age. The present cycle is woman's great opportunity. So again, I appeal to you, daughters of the King, pray the God within to keep you clean. The man reveres the purity of the woman. Woe to her if he is disappointed. However gross may be the man, he creates an ideal and clothes it in the form of the woman he loves. That ideal is destroyed as soon as lower desire gains the upper hand in the contest between virtue and vice, between the real and the unreal. He may even deceive himself for a short time into believing that it still exists, but it is only a similitude of the real ideal that still lives in such an instance, and the frivolous, oversexed nature of the woman soon palls upon him. Satiety follows, and finally utter disgust.